Hello, welcome back to more fun retro. I remembered. Today I'm doing another repair. There will be some more making videos. I'm going to mix things up a little bit more than I did before. But I want to get back to this PC Engine because I'm going to the Retro Collective Cave Museum again soon at the end of this month, and I need to drop this off there for Chris to pick up, hopefully. I'm hoping he's going. I haven't actually asked him yet, but that's what I'm assuming is going to happen. So I need to get this one fixed, and I need to get his CD-ROM unit fixed as well. Now this one is the one that you might have seen on the More Fun Fixing It episode, in which I failed to repair it. And I ended up diagnosing that the CPU was at fault, which is this chip all the way under here, underneath this ribbon cable, awkwardly. And there's one pin actually lifted up on it right now, which is the bad data line, this single data line that was causing issues. I didn't actually show in that video what would happen if I turned this on with that pin lifted. And I've got a Hue card in here, and I've got the video converter there as well. And it's connected up to my capture. So if I turn it on, yeah, just get a white screen, exactly the same as before. It's obviously that data line is something that's important to when the machine starts up, and it just crashes basically. But in that video I did say that this is likely a lost cause now, because these chips are completely unobtainium. The only way you can get a working CPU is from a working machine. Well, not the only way, because Cosam, whose schematics I used in that video as part of the diagnostics process, Cosam is somebody, a giant in the retro and vintage tech community. He's one of the board folk who recreate boards from scratch, and he's actually done, and that was the reason he's got the schematics, he's done the PC Engine, which you can recreate by using today's sponsor, PCBWay. Over to Sponsor Lee. Thank you, Benchley. As Other Lee was saying, one of the amazing things that happens in this community is clever people such as Cosam create reproductions of these old motherboards and very often share them with the community. Cosam is just one of an amazing group called the Board Folk, and on their GitHub you can find a list of all the repositories of the projects they've made available for anyone to create their own PCB. And one of the best ways of supporting the work of people like Cosam the Great is to use the PCBWay shared project link, such as the one found here on the Neptune page. This takes you straight to PCBWay, where there's no messing around with Gerber files. You just drop the pre-configured board straight into your cart, pick your favourite solder mask, colour and surface finish, pay for your order, and in no time at all you'll receive a top quality PCB to your very own specifications. Check out the link in the description and get some boards ordered from PCBWay for your next big project. Thank you, PCBWay. And cheers, Reese. After I posted in the Retro Collective Discord, in the PC Engine channel, asking if anybody had a CPU in desperation, Cosam said, oh yeah, I might have one, and he sent me one. And in this box, I'm hoping is, yep, a CPU that will hopefully match this one. So it's a C6280, C6280. He doesn't give guarantees. He's not sure. I don't think he's absolutely 100% sure that that's a working CPU, but it's kind of our last chance. So if this works, then we can bring this back to life. Now, I had asked Chris if I could buy this off of him, this unit, so that I could use the parts and the case to repair my PC Engine, which is one of the ones from the Pigeon Poo warehouse. And Chris said yes, unless I can get it repaired. If I can get it repaired, then he wanted to do something charity-wise with it. So if we do manage to fix this, then this will be raffled. I'll run a raffle and we'll get it sold off and raise some money for the Befriending Scheme. And yeah, so part of me is, the mean part of me is like, well, maybe it won't work and I get to rescue my PC Engine. But then again, it would be much nicer if the Befriending Scheme got the money. Right, so let's get this out of here. Now the big problem I've got here is access. I've got a little coil down here in this corner here. That's not too bad. I can just put some aluminium foil tape over that. But the huge problem is this cable. This is going to be very susceptible to being melted. So I think I'm going to sacrifice one of my little silicone mats here. I use these, and you know, just for putting hot things on my bench. And I think it might be wise to cut one of these, or chop a section out of one of these to go across here, or just flatten this bit and then, yeah, put it in there. Let's do that now. Let's cut a bit off. Right, I'm going to have to, oh no, maybe, had these mats. So it just needs something to insulate, because the heat is going to be going in this way. I'm going to be angling it down like this because I can't go that way because this is in the way. I mean, I could remove it, but these are so fragile. If I do remove it, that's going to cost me, I think it's about 40 euros, 35, 40 euros to get a replacement one that uses a flat flex ribbon. And I don't want to do that. And flat flex ribbon and 2 PCBs on each end. Anyway, so I'm hoping if I do this, plonk that in there, bend this as far as I dare out that way. Like that. Okay, I'm just going to chop that up. Chris, you owe me a silicone mat. Now I'm going to use some Kapton, not Kapton, I'm just going to use some masking tape to attach this, because I'm also going to shield this with some aluminium foil. There we go. I've still got access to the other side of it. And I'm going to, can you see there? I can still get to all of the bits I need to down there. I'm going to put some aluminium foil over the top of this now, just to protect the tape, basically. This is marvelous stuff. I would highly recommend using this over Kapton tape. Kapton tape tends to, and they all do a little bit, even this will do it to a certain extent, which is why I'm double insulating this. Kapton tape tends to transmit the heat through itself. It doesn't reflect the heat. It's heat resistant, it won't melt, but the heat will go straight through it. I'm actually going to do an experiment one day on that, just to illustrate what happened when I melted some plastic on an Amiga, which was covered in Kapton tape, and it still melted the plastic. The only thing with this stuff is it's ridiculously sticky. You do need to be quite careful with this when you're using it, just to, if you're taping over like surface mount components, you could rip them off with this. It's so sticky. So you have to put it on in a loose fashion. There we go. I've made a little lip that runs across the board there. There's a little gap there, but most of the heat is going to go down this bit here where it's already shielded. I am going to change all of these caps. So no, I'm going to shield them anyway, because I don't want them popping. Just going to stick a little bit around, just so that they don't get the worst, and I'll be able to test it if I don't destroy them first. But I am going to recap this before it well, once I know it's actually working. I'm not going to waste caps on a board that I can't fix. Caps and time. And then we've got that little, I don't know, a little coil down here, L102. Was it an inductor? I don't know. There we go. Everything that might be a problem is now protected. Now it would be nice if I had one of those little sucker things to actually lift this off once it's melted. That would have been ideal, but I haven't got one of those, so I'm gonna just grab it with some tweezers. In one corner, I can just get my tweezers under there and hopefully, or under here, and lift it up. Of course, there's a heat wave on in the UK right now, but I've got some air conditioning in here, but it feels counterintuitive to run a hot air gun at 350 odd degrees. 350 degrees, 99% airflow. Let's go. I'm just going to heat the area first. Just give it a warm so I don't pop the board and delaminate it. There's a little bit of flux there that's gone liquid, but I haven't applied any extra flux. You don't need flux to remove things. Okay, that went really well. And the next thing is I'm going to remove all of the flux. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do is mark this one as bad before I put it straight back on the board. That's an X, honest. Yeah, so I need to remove all of the solder that's already on the pads because I don't know what it is. I see a lot of people doing electronic repairs with, especially with quad flat packs and complicated chips like this, surface mounted stuff. And a lot of people will actually use hot air to put it back with the existing solder. But I don't want to do that. I prefer to actually solder it in place. And I can already see there's bridges over there. So I'm just going to cut some wick here. I don't need any flux on here. I'm not going to make a mess. My soldering iron is at 350 degrees. Nah. Just going across very lightly, not scrubbing at all. Let the solder wick do the work. It's cleaning up lovely. Beautiful. Right, now I need to clean that. And for that, I'm going to use a nano sponge and some IPA. Now at this point I could remove all of this and make sure I haven't melted anything, but I don't want to remove that yet because I'm going to have to get down here with the soldering iron when I fit the new chip, and I might accidentally touch the cable if I'm not too careful. So I'm going to leave that in place for now, just to help me keep this board safe. Right, that's really, really nice and clean. Not got my microscope out for a while, actually. It's got dusty. Okay, let's inspect my handiwork. Look how clean those pads are. Lost a little bit of solder mask. I wonder if that was always like that or if that's me. A little bit of solder mask there. But I don't think it's anything too important. I'm not going to touch that up. I can't see any further damage. Right, so let's get the chip out actually. and check this over. Yeah, there's still some solder left on the legs, so I'm going to have to clean that up with some wick as well. I think the best way to do that is to do it this way up. Right, so I'm going to mount it on a blob of blue tack, or pink tack in this case. That's good. That looks nice. Quite a lot of solder on this side. Lovely. I think that's got it. Right, another nano sponge, but this time on here, just to get rid of any of that flux that's left on there from the wick. That it does tend to leave quite like brown chunks of flux. Be very careful not to bend any of the pins. I'm just going to drop it in place roughly. Right, for this I'm going to use my favourite MG Chemicals 8341 flux. I've used this quite a bit now, the Kingbo stuff. That's pretty good, but it's very smoky. And there are loads of fluxes you can use this, but this is just a really good one for me. I think this is the best one. So I'm going to tack it in place in two places. So I'm going to do this corner here, just plop some flux down there, and it's coming out really easy because it's so warm in here, and this corner here, and then we'll see about the rest after that. And now I need to line this up. Bend that pin over a little bit. That one's obviously got a bit of bend to it. Oops. There's still a little bit of contamination on the top side, but I think that's going to come away with flux. I just need to move it down a little bit, both sides. Too much. That looks good. The top doesn't look right now, and this side's gone. Okay, the top looks good. That side looks good. And the bottom could be better. Just a touch. Like that. That's good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm going to bend that one. Once it's anchored in place, I'm going to bend some of these pins so they're in better places. I might even clean them up a bit actually. But I do want to get it anchored down. So, nice clean soldering iron tip. A blob. I'm not worried how much solder I'm putting on whilst I'm anchoring these. I can always take it back off again. The key here is getting my tweezers on here without moving it, and then fixing this in place. Perfect. That's lovely. Really good. Nice. Okay. Now that that's in place, I can just take a little bit of time to move a couple of these pins around. Wait, I need to move this one. That's good. I feel like they're up off the board a bit. Yeah, I'm going to have to put some pressure on this. I'm going to do that with my finger whilst reflowing these ones. I hope I don't move it. See, the really good thing about MG Chemicals flux is it's still there and it's still active. Right. Okay, so now I'm going to do a side at a time. I'm going to do the easy side first. And this is something you don't need to scrimp on the flux with. Stick some solder on my tip. Just enough to cover it. Right, heating the pad and the pin at the same time there, because I had plenty of pad to work with. You don't always get that. Sometimes you just have to float across the top of the top of the pins to make it melt onto the base of the pin. But these are quite nice ones to work on. So. Big bridge. Can I get it with just flux? Yeah. Nice. So satisfying. All right. Now this is the the second most difficult side. This is going to be the hardest side, especially to film, but this one shouldn't be too bad actually. Let's load it with flux. Okay, got enough solder on this. I've cleaned my iron, come back in just to make sure that all of this solder is flowing between the pin and the pad. Looks good. I'll check all these in a sec. All right, I'm going around this side now. Not very happy with that side. I think there was still quite a lot of contamination on top of the pin, so the solder didn't seem to be flowing very well. But it looks like it's burnt off now. I'm adding some more flux and no more solder. Yeah, getting nice shiny pins now. There we go. I'm not going to make it any better than that, I don't think. Let's see if they're actually connected now. That one looks like it might not be, but it is. There we go. That's done. That's gone very well, actually. Squirt of IPA. Look how nice and clean that is. Okay, I'm just looking for bridges now. So I don't think that that's a bridge in there. No, it's just IPA. All good. Right, now I just need to try and remove this without pulling anything off. Hopefully there's no actual there's no melting at all there. That stain was already there. I think that's somebody said that that's flux from the factory, but I'm pretty sure this was coated in coffee or something disgusting. So the only thing I want to know now is, does that work? Because if it doesn't, this video is over. Okay, so video's in and a few cards in, power is in, and I need to turn on capture. Okay, capture is on. I've got my blue screen, power is on, ready to go. Thought that was hot for a second. Yes! I mean, oh no. Ah, oh, so good. Thank you, Cosam, I should say. That's just mind-blowing that the community just comes together like that, you know, to do things like this. And I will make sure that we raise a bunch of money for the Befriending Scheme. So watch out for a future charity event. I've got a few to organise. We've got the Bride of Frankenpete, which is a follow-up. I've still got the Heart of Fire sitting in its box, getting in my way here. That will be the next one to go. The Heart of Fire needs to find its forever home. But if you don't know what the Heart of Fire is, if you think that what the new Commodore has made is the ultimate C64, you'd be very much mistaken. That might upset a few people, but that's just my opinion. This thing is just, well, it's art, basically. Anyway, right, let's put this back together. Actually, no, let's not put this back together. Let's recap this. Right, I'm going to do these one at a time using the kit provided. Also came with a regulator as well, 7805 regulator. I don't think I need to change that. There's nothing wrong with it. I'll just go in my spares. Someone's going to tell me, yeah, they wear out. Oh, I'm sure they do, but I'm not changing it. What is that? Why is there a huge... Why are all these... There's far more caps there, isn't there, than there is on here? What's this brown one? 50 volt, 22 microfarad. I don't know. Oh, I've left some foil in there. That could have been dodgy. Right, so yeah, I'm going to do these one at a time by just removing them by heating the cap legs on the other side and then just pulling it through. I could use my desoldering station, but I think this will just be quicker and easier. especially since all the legs are bent over as well. And when I do this, I can just heat one side, pull the leg through, and it will straighten itself, basically. Ideally, you want to do it before the cap gets so hot. I might have damaged the pad here. Yeah, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. I think I've pulled a pad off. Okay, we're going to change our plan then. It might be all right. No, it's fine. It's just like a cold solder joint that came through. I need to remove the solder from this. And for this, I am going to use some flux. Actually, it looks like the pad's gone on this side. There is still some there, so it will make a connection, but I think I did lose a bit of pad. I better make sure that that is connected. But I am going to change the method. So that one goes to that one. Tiny little bit of damage. It won't make any difference to it, so I'm just going to get the new cap in there, which in this case is 47 microfarad at 16 volt, 4735. Some of these are different voltages, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful here. All right, looks like the majority of them are 1 microfarad 50 volts, these ones. These are 10 microfarad 50 volts. These ones here are 47 35 volts. We've got this weird one here, which is 470 at 16 volts, and this one, which is 22 at 50. There's also a couple of SMD caps here. No idea why they're there. Right, so what was this? This was a 47, wasn't it? Okay, so 47. Let's put an extra little bit of flux on the top because there's better connections on the top here. Actually, that one looks soldered. All right, it's one down and a million to go. I'll do this one on camera, but the rest of them, it would be incredibly boring to watch all of that. So I'll just show you how I'm going to do this one, which is here. You can see these legs that are here. This leg here, get even closer. That leg there, and that leg there, they're bent right over. And it's a pain to lever these up, especially with this thing in the way. I've an idea. Let's take this heatsink off. So I might change this voltage regulator after all. It's a lower rated one than the one that came in the kit, I think. So might be a good idea to do that anyway. Now that's out of the way. Right, now that I've got that in the board holder, I can work a little bit more freely. There's the cap is there that I want to get out. It's going to reflow the legs. Straighten the legs up so that I can get the desoldering station on there. They're bent so low over the board, it's really hard to get them up. Well, that one came out a lot cleaner. What have we got here? This is 10 microfarad. Right, that's 2 done. Now I will go through all of the rest one at a time and recap it, and I'll come back at the end and we'll see if it still works. I'm sure it will be fine. Yeah. Okay, the board is all recapped now. I didn't cause any more damage. I thought I did on one pad, but it was fine. Got a few caps left over. I don't know what these are for. There's some 1 microfarad, a 10, and this 470. Not sure what that's for, but I'll keep them handy. I've definitely replaced all of the caps that are on here. I've also removed the voltage regulator. It was looking really grotty around there, and there's the cotton bud that I used to clean it. Ugh. Yummy. There's a little bit more cleaning to do there. This isn't a conformal coating thing, this is just grot. It's dirt. Right, so let's not get carried away with that. That's the old voltage regulator. I shall just ditch that. I've got loads of those, and this one is going to go back in there. I just need to put the heatsink in the right way round underneath it, and possibly give it a squeeze of some thermal paste. That's not right. It's hitting my clamp. Take it out of here now. Yeah, that's stripped. Damn it. So I put a bolt on the other side. Yeah, lovely. And let's not forget to actually solder this back. Marvellous. Right, let's put this back together the right way around. So the only thing I'm really worried about here, I'm not worried about any of the recapping. Those caps are really nice Rubicons, and they all, apart from the one I damaged, which is fine, all went in perfectly well. The only thing I'm worried about is the stress that's been put on this ribbon cable from being pushed up and then pushed back down. So I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed that that's still okay. All right, here we go. Looks good. Yes. We've got sound there as well. Lovely. Suppose I better try it out. Let's put it back together. If I can find all the bits and try it out. Okay, I've got these bits. Where's that? I had 2 bags of screws. Where did the other one go? I think that this is from my Pigeon Poo Warehouse one. Yeah, they're really rusty and nasty. This is from, it says Dudley, but that's not Dudley. This is not Dudley's machine. So I know that one of them, some of them go in here to hold this in, but that's 4 screws missing that do that bit. I don't know where they are. Yeah, 4 screws to go in there, and it looks like they're all pretty much the same. There's some longer ones there actually. Oh, there's some long ones in here. There's 2 long ones and 3 shorter ones. So I'm looking for 4 of the shorter ones. Ooh, found a couple of them that are suitable. Maybe that one. Right, I've got that in there. I've got the plastic cover over it, as it was supposed to be. Let's see if it goes back. And I've got the switch back in place, and now I'm going to just slot it together, hopefully. There's a lot of resistance from this cable. It's going to have to be brave. Oh, that's right. It's these game bit ones. I've got one of those. Here. For some reason, there's only 2 of these screws in this pack, but there are 2 in this rusty pack, and they look in really good condition. So I don't know if they've got muddled up or somehow. I don't know how that would have happened, but let's borrow those from that one, stick them in here, so that this is a complete unit. Ta-da! Does it still work? Let's try. I don't even know what I've got on here. A big lump of solder, apparently. Oh no, it's foil. So I need to source another gamepad for this before we sell it. If anyone's got a PC Engine gamepad, it doesn't matter if it's not working. We'll make it work. That you want to give to the raffle, so that we can make this a complete unit, and I'll try to organise either some games or a turbo EverDrive to go with it, and maybe the video conversion thing as well. That would be quite nice. Right, something's gone horribly wrong there. Why is that? It's current limiting. The only thing it can be, well, it could be this. Let's try it with Bomberman. I have got my bench power supply set down to 800 milliamps, which is probably not enough, actually, thinking about it. Yeah, there we go. So that is working fine. And 900 milliamps, it still might not be enough. No, it doesn't like that. Gonna have to give it a bit more. Cool, that draws quite a lot of current. Give it 1.4 amps. Hey, it's drawing just over an amp. Oh, it's not actually very happy though. Doesn't like my turbo EverDrive. Definitely likes that one. This CD-ROM system card. That works. And some tennis game. That works. Populous. Works fine. And Space Invaders. Doesn't work. This one struggled before, actually. Probably just needs another clean. Yes. But this one doesn't work. Yeah, it's not making good connection. I'm able to influence that by moving this around. I think the slot might not be very healthy. I can see something in there. Right, I'm going to take it apart again and have a look at the slot a bit closer. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Yeah, you can see it. I'm going to try turning it on out of without the case on. Okay, that works. That looks better. Phew. Right. Now what does it do? Nothing. It's current limiting again. What? I think the cable's gone. I think that's being pinched somehow. Oh, this is really annoying. What on earth is going on? That's not current limiting, and it doesn't want to work now, but it did work. I wonder if that's not getting far enough in there. I haven't broken it. I don't understand, because that works. With the case closed, that works. But this doesn't. But it did a minute ago. Okay, it's working again. I've just given it a spray. I think if I pull it out a little bit, it'll probably, yeah, it works. I think it's just the way the EverDrive is made is not quite as compatible. The only test now I want to see, is it working with this case closed? No. Yes, it does. Ah, there's a little cutout there. Right, so if you shove it in all the way, doesn't like it. You pull it out a little bit, still doesn't like it. Now it does. Yeah, I think it's just the way this is made. There is something on there. Oh, I'm going to clean this slot properly. Right, I've got a piece of paper I've cut off, and I'm just going to pop that on there. I'm going to make it a bit narrower. It doesn't need to be the full width. Give that a spray. Give that a spray. Yeah, definitely some dirt coming off of there. Right, with this first. Perfect. That works. Let's try pushing it all the way in. And it still works. Just a dirty slot, or an uncooperative slot. All right. Now, any joy with everything plugged in. Does it still work? No. Oh, it's hitting the SD card. Right. You have to have it in exactly the right place, and then it'll work. If I shove it all the way in, it doesn't work. Okay, so I think the thing to do is to push it in, turn it on, doesn't work. Now pull it out so it's against the peg here that comes out, turn it off, turn it back on, and it still doesn't work. Okay, so I pushed it in a little bit and it worked. I still think, I mean, all of the other cartridges, all the other Hue cards work perfectly. So this is definitely an EverDrive thing. What happened there? Oh, I think I was supposed to change gear. I was driving along like Grandad in first gear. Brilliant. Right, okay, so expect to see this in a future raffle. Let's try and get some bits to go with it. We need a controller, some way to load games, so probably one of these. Definitely one of these, and any other bits and pieces that you can suggest that go with it. Let's make it into a nice little prize and a complete package. Power supply. It needs a power supply, which is basically a center negative 9-volt. I can sort that out, not a problem. I'll build one of those. Yeah, fantastic. I'm glad that we got this back up and running. Does mean that my one is now going to be in a ratty case forever, but that's for another day. That's a problem for another day. Maybe I'll get my lovely sponsor PCBWay to make one. I know there are 3D prints available for these cases. I don't know how good they are, but because there's quite a lot of detail on this, but we'll see. We'll give it a go. I do have some more PC Engine content to come. There's this thing to repair. The CD-ROM. That works. I don't know about this. This is an unknown to me. Because this has composite video out and it's got power into it, so it passes everything through. There's some electronics in there, so it's probably going to need some attention inside there. Yeah, but like I say, that works. This is untested. I don't know whether it works or not yet, but there is a problem with all of these. When they get to this age, one of the cogs breaks inside, but I've got something to sort that out. So we'll fix that in a future episode. Won't be too long because I need to give this back to its owner at some point soon, maybe. Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. It's got a little tab there and 2 little pogo pins in here that it slides over. Once that makes contact, it knows it's got a CD-ROM in it. Nice. Beautiful unit. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video, whenever that may be.